You think victory comes easy? You think the strongest warriors just woke up one day and chose power? No. Every legend you admire, every character who stood undefeated, every hero who made you feel something, they all paid the same price first. They suffered. Not a little. Not temporarily. They suffered until suffering became their teacher, until pain became their training ground, until breaking became the only way to rebuild into something unbreakable. That's the truth no one wants to hear. You don't win until you suffer first. Not because the universe is cruel, but because strength isn't given. It's forged. And the forge is always fire. The hammer is always pain. The blade is always you, broken and reborn, over and over until you're sharp enough to cut through anything. Look at every warrior who ever mattered. They didn't start strong. They started desperate. They started weak. They started with everything taken from them. Everyone they loved destroyed. Every dream shattered. And in that moment, when they had nothing left, that's when they'd found everything. Because suffering doesn't just hurt you. It reveals you. It strips away the fake version of yourself. The version that smiles when it's dying inside. The version that pretends everything's fine. The version that thinks comfort will make you complete. Suffering destroys that illusion. It burns it to ash. And from those ashes, the real you rises. The you that doesn't need comfort. The you that doesn't break under pressure because pressure is all you've known. The you that looks at impossible odds and smiles. Not because you're insane, but because you've already survived worse. You've already walked through hell. So what's one more fire? That's what separates the winners from the wishers. The warriors from the weak. Suffering. Everyone wants the power. Everyone wants the respect. Everyone wants to be untouchable. But nobody wants the training. Nobody wants the sleepless nights. Nobody wants the moments when you're so broken you can't even cry anymore. You just stare, you just breathe. You just exist in the space between giving up and getting up. And that space, that's where champions are born. You see, suffering isn't the enemy. Avoiding it is. Running from pain is what keeps you weak. Because every time you run, you stay the same. Every time you hide, you stay soft. Every time you quit when it gets hard, you prove to yourself that hard is where you stop. And if hard is where you stop, you'll never become anything worth remembering. The greatest fighters didn't avoid pain. They walked into it. They welcomed it. They understood something most people never will. Pain is the price of evolution. You want to evolve? You want to transform? You want to become the version of yourself that nobody can touch? Then you have to pay. And the currency is suffering. Suffering you can't skip. Suffering you can't negotiate. Suffering you can't buy your way out of. You have to go through it. Every second, every cut, every scar, every moment when you think you can't take any more. And then you take more anyway. That's the difference. Winners don't stop when it hurts. They stop when it's done. And it's never done until they've become who they needed to be. Until they've transformed from the weak version that got destroyed into the weapon that does the destroying. That's the cycle. You get broken. You rebuild. You get broken again. You rebuild stronger. Again and again until breaking doesn't break you anymore. Until pain is just background noise. Until suffering is just part of the process. You think your favorite characters became legends because they had it easy? No. They became legends because they had it impossible. They faced enemies they couldn't beat. They lost people they couldn't save. They failed missions they couldn't afford to fail. And every time they had a choice. Give up or grow, die or evolve, stay weak or become the storm. And every single time, they chose the hard path because they understood what you need to understand. There is no victory without suffering first. Every rival that pushed them, every villain that broke them, every loss that shattered them, those weren't obstacles. Those were lessons. Painful, brutal, unforgiving lessons. But lessons nonetheless. And the ones who survived didn't just survive. They absorbed it. They turned every defeat into data, every scar into strength, every breakdown into breakthrough. That's how you win. Not by avoiding the pain, but by becoming the kind of person pain can't stop. You want to know the secret? There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is no easy route to power. The only way through is through. You have to feel it. You have to endure it. You have to let it destroy the weak parts of you, so the strong parts can finally breathe. You have to suffer until suffering teaches you everything comfort never could. Discipline, focus, resilience, control, the ability to keep moving when your body says stop, the ability to keep fighting when your mind says quit, the ability to keep believing when the world says you've already lost. That's what suffering builds. Not weakness, strength, real strength. The kind that doesn't come from talent or luck or genetics. The kind that comes from deciding that no matter how many times you fall, you'll get up one more time. No matter how many times you fail, you'll try one more time. No matter how many times you break, you'll rebuild one more time. Because winners understand something losers never will. The fight isn't over when you get knocked down. It's over when you stay down. And if you refuse to stay down, you can't lose. You can only learn. Every punch you take is information. Every mistake you make is education. Every loss you suffer is preparation. For what? For the moment when it all finally clicks. When all that pain finally makes sense. When all that suffering finally pays off. And you stand there, transformed, unrecognizable from who you used to be. Stronger, faster, sharper, colder, more focused, more disciplined, more dangerous. Not because you wanted to be, but because you had to be. Because the world gave you no choice. It was evolve or die. And you chose evolution. That's the warrior's path. That's the champion's journey. That's the legend's origin story. It always starts the same way. With loss. With pain. With suffering so deep you think you'll drown in it. But you don't drown. You learn to swim. You learn to breathe underwater. You learn to turn the ocean that was supposed to kill you into the weapon you use to destroy everything that hurt you. That's power. Not the power you're born with. The power you earn. The power you bleed for. The power you suffer for. And when you finally get it, when you finally become it, nobody can take it from you. Because it's not a gift. It's a scar. It's proof. Proof that you survived what should have killed you. Proof that you endured what should have broken you. Proof that you rose from the ashes of your old self and became fire itself. That's what suffering does. It doesn't weaken you. It weaponizes you. So stop running from it. Stop praying for an easier life. Stop wishing for less pain. Because pain is the only thing that makes you grow. Comfort keeps you stagnant. Safety keeps you soft. Peace keeps you unprepared. But suffering sharpens you. It tests you. It forces you to become more than you were. And if you embrace it instead of avoiding it, if you walk into the fire instead of running from it, you'll come out the other side transformed, not just strong, unstoppable. You see, every warrior has a breaking point. That moment when everything falls apart, when the enemy is too strong, when the mission is too hard, when the loss is too heavy, that's the moment most people quit. That's the moment most people break permanently. But not you. Not if you understand the truth. That breaking point isn't the end, it's the beginning. It's the moment you have to choose who you're going to be. The person who stays broken or the person who becomes unbreakable. The choice is simple, but making it is the hardest thing you'll ever do, because it means accepting the pain, accepting the struggle, accepting that there is no easy way out, no shortcut to greatness, no path to power that doesn't go through hell first. And most people, when they see that path, they turn around. They choose comfort. They choose safety. They choose the easy life. And that's fine. But they'll never win, because winning requires suffering first. Always. Think about it. Every time a character got stronger, what happened before? They lost. They failed. They got destroyed. And in that destruction, they found clarity. They found purpose. They found the will to become something more. Because when everything is taken from you, you realize what really matters. Not the approval of others. Not the comfort of routine. Not the safety of mediocrity. What matters is becoming strong enough that nothing can take anything from you again. That's the motivation. That's the fuel. That's the fire that never goes out. You want that fire. Then you have to burn first. You have to feel the heat. You have to let it consume the old you, the weak you, the version of you that thought happiness came from avoiding pain. It doesn't. Happiness is a lie. Comfort tells you to keep you weak. Real fulfillment, real satisfaction, real peace comes from knowing you've become the strongest version of yourself. And you can't become that version by taking the easy path. You have to suffer. You have to struggle. You have to fight battles you're not ready for. You have to face enemies stronger than you. You have to lose before you can win. Because losing teaches you what winning can't. Losing shows you your weaknesses. Losing forces you to adapt. Losing breaks your ego so your discipline can take over. And discipline is everything. Discipline is what gets you up when motivation dies. Discipline is what keeps you training when everyone else is resting. Discipline is what makes you push through pain that would stop normal people. And discipline isn't built in comfort. It's built in suffering. It's built in those moments when everything in you says quit. You say not yet, not now, not ever. That's the warrior mentality. That's the champion mindset. That's how legends are made. One brutal day at a time, one painful rep at a time, one impossible challenge at a time. And every time you survive something you didn't think you could survive, you get stronger. Not just physically, mentally, spiritually. You start to believe in yourself on a level most people never reach. Because you have proof. You have scars. You have memories of battles you should have lost but didn't. And those memories become your foundation. The unshakable belief that no matter what comes, you'll find a way. Because you always have. Because suffering made you that way. So when the next challenge comes, and it will come, you won't panic. You won't freeze. You won't break. You'll remember. You'll remember every time you got back up. You'll remember every time you pushed through. You'll remember every time you transformed pain into power. And you'll do it again. Because that's who you are now. Not someone who avoids suffering. Someone who uses it. Someone who turns every obstacle into an opportunity. Every setback into a setup. Every loss into a lesson. That's the evolution. That's the transformation. That's how you go from weak to strong, from victim to warrior, from broken to unbreakable. You don't avoid the pain. You absorb it. You don't run from the struggle. You master it. You don't fear suffering. You weaponize it. Because you understand what most never will. Suffering isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning. It's the chapter where everything changes. It's the moment you stop being who you were and start becoming who you need to be. And who you need to be is simple, unstoppable, unbreakable, undeniable. Someone who doesn't need perfect conditions to succeed. Someone who thrives in chaos. Someone who turns pressure into performance. Someone who looks at impossible odds and sees opportunity. That's what suffering creates. Not victims, warriors. Not weakness, weapons. Not broken people, legends. But here's the truth nobody tells you. The suffering never really stops. It just changes. You level up, challenges level up. You get stronger, the enemies get stronger, you evolve, tests evolve. That's the game. That's the journey. There is no final destination where everything is easy. There's only the next battle, the next struggle, the next opportunity to prove you're still you, still standing, still fighting, still refusing to break no matter what breaks around you. And that's beautiful, because it means you never stop growing, you never stop evolving, you never stop becoming more. Every day is a chance to suffer and grow stronger from it. Every challenge is a chance to test yourself. Every failure is a chance to rebuild better. That's the warrior's life. Not comfortable, not easy, not peaceful, but powerful, purposeful, real. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding pain, and they die having never really lived, never really tested themselves, never really discovered what they're capable of. They play it safe, they stay comfortable, they choose the easy path, and they wonder why they feel empty, why they feel weak, why they feel like something's missing. What's missing is the struggle. What's missing is the suffering that builds character. What's missing is the pain that proves you're alive and fighting and becoming. You don't have to live like that. You can choose the hard path. You can choose the warrior's way. You can choose to suffer now so you can dominate later, because that's the exchange. Suffer first, win later. Struggle now, succeed forever. Break today, become unbreakable tomorrow. That's the deal. That's the price. And every warrior who ever mattered paid it gladly, because they understood what you need to understand. You don't win until you suffer first. So stop waiting for easy. Stop hoping for painless. Stop wishing for a version of success that doesn't require sacrifice. It doesn't exist. Victory demands suffering. Greatness demands struggle. Power demands pain. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you'll never get the reward. You'll stay weak. You'll stay comfortable. You'll stay safe. And you'll wonder why the warriors around you keep rising while you stay stuck. But if you accept it, if you embrace it, if you walk into the suffering with your eyes open and your fist clenched, everything changes. You change. The pain becomes fuel. The struggle becomes strength. The suffering becomes your greatest teacher. And when you finally emerge on the other side, forged by fire and hardened by hell, nobody will recognize you. Because you won't be the same person who went in. You'll be the warrior, the champion, the legend. That's what this is about. Not motivating you to feel good, motivating you to suffer well, to suffer with purpose, to suffer knowing that every painful moment is building the unbreakable version of you, the version that doesn't quit, doesn't break, doesn't stop. The version that looks at the hardest path and chooses it anyway. Because easy doesn't build legends. Suffering does. So get ready. Get ready to hurt. Get ready to struggle. Get ready to suffer in ways you didn't think you could survive. Because you will survive. And when you do, you'll be stronger than you ever imagined. You'll be harder than you ever thought possible. You'll be the warrior you were always meant to become. Not because it was easy, because it was hard, because you suffered first. And that suffering made you unstoppable. This is your path. This is your journey. This is your transformation. It won't be comfortable. It won't be fun. It won't be easy. But it will be worth it. Because on the other side of suffering is everything you ever wanted. Power, respect, victory, the unshakable knowledge that you can handle anything. That you've been through hell and came back stronger. That nothing can break you because you've already been broken and rebuilt yourself into something unbreakable. So don't run from the pain. Run toward it. Don't avoid the struggle. Embrace it. Don't fear the suffering. Use it, because that's how winners are made. Not in comfort, in chaos, not in peace, in war, not in ease, in agony. You don't win until you suffer first. That's the rule. That's the truth. That's the way. Now get up, get moving, get suffering, because your victory is waiting on the other side. And the only way to reach it is through the pain, through the struggle, through the suffering that will either break you or make you. And if you refuse to break, if you refuse to quit, if you refuse to stay down, then you've already won. Because winners aren't people who never fall. They're people who always get back up. Always. No matter what. No matter how much it hurts. No matter how impossible it seems. You don't win until you suffer first. So suffer like a warrior. Fight like a champion. Rise like a legend. Because that's what you are. That's what you'll become. That's what suffering creates when you refuse to let it destroy you. The unbreakable, the unstoppable, the undeniable. It's hard. That's exactly why it works.